you're over 50 and you are single, whether it's been through divorce or maybe you've lost a husband, whatever the reason, you find yourself alone and you're thinking about dating again, but everyone's trying to discourage you from doing online dating because there's all these strange, crazy men out there on online dating. I want to give you some reassurance that it doesn't have to be that way. There's so many ways to protect yourself, to keep everything safe. And even if you meet somebody from friends and family or at church or anywhere, you're always going to have the opportunity to run into somebody that might get a little weird. I mean, they're all out there and they're out there everywhere, not just online dating. So my first real topic for my Later in Life network series is going to be online dating, because I did find it very successful for me as far as practicing dating again in my own environment, in my house alone. And it gave me confidence after I went through a process of just the emotional, just the newness of it. It was very, very different for me because I've been married twice in my life since I was 20, and I've never really lived alone. And I've never lived to where I was dependent on myself. And I have had so many struggles financially, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, everything. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about hitting rock bottom, because when you do that and you come to grips with where you are in reality and that you're actually alone in this reality, even though you may have friends and family, you are not, I don't have someone living with me, helping me financially. And that's been a really hard thing to get used to. So you could be over 40, you could be younger. I'm in my mid 60s, and you could be younger than that and find yourself in the situation where now you're trying to figure out how to go at life on your own. And the reason that I want to talk about online dating is because of the process. The process is getting on a dating app and working through your profile. And it is just a really great way to find out about yourself, because one of the first things that the dating app asked me was, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me what your hobbies are. Tell me what you like to do. Tell me, you got to fill all this stuff out about yourself. And I don't know about you. I don't think I'm the only one out there that's like this. I didn't know. I haven't had hobbies in so many years that I don't really have hobbies. I've worked, I had things that I like to do as far as writing and, financial things, spreadsheets, and, but I don't have hobbies. So I had to really think about what do I enjoy doing, because whoever I was married to at the time, and I have one son, and I was involved in their stuff. Like many of us women, we're doing stuff in the home, and we may be working a job, and then you got kids activities, and just time just goes by, years go by. And now when all of that, when the kids are raised and something happens with the marriage, and you find yourself out on your own again, and you may or may not have retirement, you may or may not have enough financial revenue stream coming in to where you can actually live without being in a panic mode. But if those of you are out there, if there's women that are in a panic mode, well, hello. Join me in this whole thing, because it's been the most eye-opening thing I've been through. But I've learned a lot about myself, and I've learned how to deal with some things on my own that I've never had to deal with before. So, as a review on why you should get exposed to online dating and being on an app and answering all your profile questions and better understanding who you are now, whatever age you're at later in life, what's important to you, what type of relationship you're looking for, and what type of man are you wanting to find. And so I do have top 5 benefits to doing this, because I mean, unless you're just really happy being alone forever, till the end of your life, I mean, some women may choose to do that, but that's not me. And I would say that there's a lot of women that want a relationship. Top 5 benefits: you will know yourself better. You will come to know yourself more reality-wise. In reality, not what you think you are or who you play like you are, or if you've done stuff like that in your life, tried to be what people want you to be, and you never really knew who you were, your own identity. So you will discover that through this process. You will practice engaging conversation with men. You will practice talking to them with respect, but also if they have no respect for you, if they're talking to you bad, then you will learn how to disengage. You either hang up on them, you either block them, or you tell them your thoughts, and you're being honest, and you can be very diplomatic about it, or you can really shut them down. And you want that to happen before you ever meet them. And of course, the first meeting's always in public. I always recommend a coffee shop with the to-go cup coffee, because I've been in too many places where you show up, they're not what their pictures look like. They're usually older than their picture looked like. They may just not be what you thought. They might look like you thought, but then they start acting really different. I've had some strange experiences even in public places. So it's okay. This is a learning experience, and you just don't get overly emotional or overly even excited about it. Just stay optimistic, but stay thinking about yourself. Keep yourself, your mind and your emotions and your physical space, keep that all, be very aware of all of those things. And don't take any crap from anybody, no matter how cute they are. Don't get sucked in. I mean, women, we do that. We just think everybody, maybe they're all nice and they've just got different personality. Don't give them attributes that they may not have, just because you want them to have. Practicing. This is practicing. Practice conversation. Practice meeting them at some point if things are going well. And don't get too quickly excited about it. You can also learn new activity things with it. Like maybe they go bowling and you don't know how, and they teach you. I mean, find things that are fun. I learned a little bit how to play golf. I had never even, but I learned that with one of them. And really, I don't really want to pursue that, but I tried it. So, there's something about later in life, there's so many things that we may not have ever done or tried, or, it just never came up. And so you can find fun things to learn, and it's just, you might stumble across something that you actually want to keep doing. I mean, it just, and during this, you find out what you don't want. So you will find out what you don't want in a relationship. You don't want with, like this guy, I really like this, but I don't feel right about it. You've got to trust that you will have that discerning gift kick in at some point in here and override, whatever, how cute they are, or whatever. If you get hung up on that, don't get hung up on that. It's tempting. It's very tempting to get hung up on attraction. Depending also on what you've been through. So you find out what you don't want, but you can also find out what you do want. And those are things you need to write down in your journal. If you're not journaling, we're going to talk about that sometime. It's really important. It's important for many reasons. The knowing what you do want, knowing what you don't want, practicing communication, practicing discussion, deep conversation, practice moving on, practice feeling hurt about things. This may sound really strange, but at our age, we've got to get desensitized to thinking that everything's a Harlequin romance. No, those are not even real relationships. I'm sorry. You may want to watch the Harlequin Christmas shows. And if you do, that's fine. And when I'm in a real weak moment or want to just feel like doing something really just stupid for an hour, I might watch part of one. But guys, this is so totally not normal. This is not life. It's not normal. It's fiction. It just is. And I've lived the Harlequin romance in my mind most of my whole life. And I think that that's part of what my problem was my whole life. it will keep you from growing up. It will keep you from maturing into a responsible adult because you're just off into somewhere else in your mind. Practice moving on instead of hanging on. You know, I mean, and I've done it through texting. I've ended it with one person just through text because I just met him like maybe twice, but I just sent a text and just said, you're a really nice guy, but it's not feeling right for me. Um, you can do that. They might, even if they don't understand, um, you got to practice doing that. Now you can't, I would do, if you've just met somebody once or twice, you can do that. You don't have to meet them again and tell them in person. No, you're not that close yet. You don't have to overdo something like that. The practicing of beginning a conversation with a man, ending it, feeling the emotions to that, but moving on anyway, and getting used to that and getting used to forgetting about them and moving on to another one. Conversation, how's it going? Evaluate, what do you feel? What do you feel God's saying about it? You either go on to the next step of texting, phone conversation, and eventually meeting at a coffee shop. Please don't do dinner on the first thing. I mean, I had a guy I met for dinner on the first meet, and he ended up moving over to my side of the booth and getting very personal in front of everybody. I don't get that. I don't get that. And he was wanting me to go to his house, and it was like 10 o'clock at night, which means it's dark. I don't know this man, and he was really, he became very pushy. So this is where and here again, men sometimes have an attitude about, well, you just wanted a free meal. I had one of them tell me that before. Well, and so I pulled my 20 out of my purse and laid it there and said, well, we don't want you to feel that way. So here you go. And you leave. And you watch where people are. You stay with people. You might even ask the restaurant people. You might just say, would you mind, coming with me to my car? I mean, if you don't feel safe around this person, if they got really in your space in front of people, then you don't want them. This is why you don't give out your where you live. You don't give out anything like that at this point, up to this point. You just say what city, but these are the things that you would protect yourself no matter who you are meeting where. It's no different. So it's a practice, and just be aware and